We're talking about Dream Team versus Rebels first.
Oh, we're gonna do it in reverse order. All right. Well, Edgar better win. Why do I say Edgar better win? Because I don't like Bo.
Yeah, but like, do you now? Besides what I better do you have any reasoning?
Have any reason why you should beat him?
No,
Um,
like raw outside of personal feelings,
yeah,
just
yeah,
based
yeah,
on the
yeah,
game.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I get what you're saying. It's snow, it's wind. So, I mean, it's basically the same game that we played last season, right? Except heavy snow to light snow. I just used DE flats to beat him, and he couldn't pass, and he couldn't screen, and he ran okay. I don't think anything about his team has changed enough to make that same strategy not basically just beat him again. You're zoned into man, so like that's a wrinkle. But I mean, the same idea, right? Like he can't throw deep, which is the biggest threat of his team.
The big challenge comes for me on it is what he's done a good job in the fact of the Adrian Peterson halfback is good, and then
Sure.
while he still has his star receivers for passing, he's got that Slumbo-esque star wide receiver for screens, and it gives zones fits because even if you call, I've tried a bunch of different plays the last 2 seasons, and even if you call plays to go straight to the flat, doesn't matter if it's a D end or a linebacker, doesn't matter. For some reason, when they're halfway there and they'll be faced straight the receiver running, they'll stop halfway and turn around and intentionally face the blockers.
Yeah, I know. But at the same time, what
It
he's
is
done the
me.
same he's done the same thing with Ghoulies, he's done the same thing with Dream Team, he does the same thing with Springfield Adams. Like there's enough tape out there to figure out how to beat it.
Yeah, I'll figure out ways. If he's gonna beat me, he better find something special, or it's or his.
It's just one of those things where like the composition of his team just doesn't lend itself to snow. That's all. And so if this is a clear sky game, I'd be like, yeah, it's kind of dangerous. But
Even for these two, I've played him with pushback and rebels already both this season, and in both games he only won by 3 points, and he played bad ideas twice, and both times only won by 3 points. So I play him well no matter what. It just always runs to is I know pushback and rebels both fumbled for just no reason a lot against him, but bad ideas didn't. And that'll be the big thing is just as long as I don't fumble a lot, I should have it pretty well.
the other thing too is just that the Slombo backs come alive in the snow, and even though he has one as well, it's a faster variant, so that's less tackle breaking. And tackle breaking is really what you want in snow because that leads to a bigger morale spiral faster. And I don't think he has stiff arm. I think he's purely spin.
No,
But
he's
stiff.
purely stiff arm.
No, he has spin for sure.
Okay, I know the halfback. It's one I probably see stiff arm fire on it more than any halfback I've seen in the game.
I think I was watching the Koth one. I don't think I saw it once, but maybe it was a weird thing with my.
I'll be
I
back.
was watching. I was watching on phones. Maybe it was just a weird display issue. But yeah, I don't know. Just looking at like the team of Bows, like I just don't see a weapon. Yeah, and I think too, he only has 3 linebackers in the team, so he can't go to like 4-4, which is really helpful for run stopping, especially in cold weather. He primarily plays 3-3-5, which is, to his credit, inordinately good against inside runs, but it does have that weakness to outside runs, specifically off tackle runs. Those are runs that Slombo likes anyway. Like, I don't know. I'm not a believer. Not in the snow. Clear skies, like, I think it's a toss up, but
Okay, I'm back.
welcome back. And yeah, just where like you said, like where his money's spent on defense. He's got a normie safety with no backup. Like that's worrying. You can just run at him all game long, and if you keep having to tackle Slombo all game long with a normie safety, he's going to get tired.
Yeah, when he played Rebels, it was a 27-20 game.
Like this normie safety doesn't even have workhorse, which is like I would have to assume that you would go workhorse if you're only going to have one safety and like no backup, but it's egotist natural scholar. So, and his reps 25, so it's not like he has like 100 Condi or something.
Well, and I heard you briefly when I was walking away that how's he going to stop me scoring? And that it's true because I put up almost 500 yards on him last time. It was just that I fumbled 6 times and lost 4. Same thing when Pushback played him. I put up 500 something yards. He only put up 300, but I turned it over more than him. So that'd be the big thing. Like you said, the Slumbos don't. Fortunately, one of the nice things is the Slumbos don't fumble a lot in weather.
Yeah, for whatever reason.
Yeah, they'll regular weather they'll fumble a decent amount, but snow they tend to not be as bad.
I mean, I'm looking at his linebackers, and to his credit, his linebackers clearly have pretty solid power tackling. Mike Singletary's got 44 reps. Bobby Boucher's got 34. His free safety somehow has 44, which means it's built all kinds of fucking weird for a free safety. I don't know why. He has a strong safety on the team that's normie, but he has a free safety that's a superstar. And that's the power hitting one. Just weird.
He's probably just using it to be a true free safety, just roaming and laying hits.
Yeah, but now after the changes, though, this is kind of on a tangent. But after the changes to the strong safeties, they are now the better version of that. Like strictly, like just actually, they are objectively better at it. But
right.
I don't know. I just think with you, because I know you have at least a very similar Slombo. It's not quite as good as mine, but The other thing too is actually here's the real problem, right? I go and I look at his linebackers. So I'm just saying, hey, they've got good power tackling, but I don't know what it is about Bo's linebackers, but they've got to be leading the league in missed tackles. Like Bobby Boucher has 130 tackles in the season with 94 missed. He's got like a 45% missed tackle rate. Mike Singletary, it's even worse. He's got 191 tackles in the season with 114 missed. He has over a 50% missed tackle rate.
I just saw that too, yeah.
Like what's going on?
In fact, his junior Sayow's the same way, 77 missed.
Like I think you could just run at that all game long then. Like what stops you? A 50% missed tackle rate and you're having to tackle one of the best tackle breaking halfbacks in the game, and it's 10 degrees weather, and it's snow.
In fact, his D-line's the same way, basically. His D-line miss almost more tackles than they make.
I just don't know if he can stop Slombo. Like if you just say that you're just going to run inside every down, right? Which I'm not saying you are, but in a world where you did that, right? Just the time of possession alone would kill the game. All it takes is, okay, well, let's just say you both score back and forth. But it only takes one missed drive by him at that point to just lose.
In fact, his cornerbacks all basically have missed as many tackles as they've made as well. What in the world? How has he managed to win so much this year when you look at that?
This offense
It's
puts
just
up crazy numbers.
and it's just turnovers. He's actually had a good turnover amount this year. Yeah, the only one that doesn't have an insanely high missed tackle rate is that star free safety.
Yeah, it's all that. His is respectable, like 120 tackles, 40 missed tackles. Like, okay, that's fine.
All the others are almost at a 50% or higher rate.
It doesn't even make sense because I don't know how, with clearly having power tackling, how the hell are you missing so many tackles? Like, what are you doing on your builds
I would
that's
assume
causing a
tackle.
missed tackle rate? Like, it's got to be tackle tech is just garbage, right? Like,
Yeah, and that's
50
one I
tackle
go.
tech or something.
One of the reason Rebels does well is the fact I've got like 90 or more tackling tech on all the stars. I've got at least 90 on all my linebackers and safeties.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, and you see I barely miss tackles.
I think just that alone is like that's enough for me in my mind to call it. Like, you got two tackle breaking halfbacks. One team actually can tackle. One team actually can't tackle. It's a done deal.
It's as long as I can avoid the fumbles,
Yeah, but
it'll
that's
be
any game,
good.
right? Like, any
Yeah,
game, you always can throw a caveat that, like, oh well, I could get +6 turnover differential and just lose. But assuming that that doesn't happen, I don't see how it goes anyway. But Southside wins it.
I'll have to
I don't
put my game planning cap on tonight, but I'll do that of course anyway.
know. Yeah, yeah. I don't know that. I just think Bo's hands might be tied here. He also has two CPUs on his offense, which is weird. Like, you could have those as CPU, like as human players on low contract, because CPUs you can't have on medium, and that would give him like an extra like 700,000 salary total. He could put somebody on a high contract, probably like as a kicker, or maybe you have just enough to put like a wide receiver or a tight end on a high contract. Maybe it's a little bit of like roster inefficiency. But I don't know. That's all I got.
I think
I think it's just the threat of it, right? Like, you get afraid.
it's it's the th- yeah, I think that's the big thing is it's the threat of it to the level. And then he's turned around, like I said, and then he's got the Megatron, which is the one that breaks tons of tackles, and that's clearly at one. I think he's designed it to a level with what the game's at. If he's playing man teams, he can lean. He generally leans heavy on his halfback this year, which makes
Yeah.
sense. But he's yeah. Why have all the star power there when you could have more defensive stars or something? I don't quite get that.
I mean, honestly, the more that I see two wide receivers on a team lately, the more I hate it. Like, with your read progression order, it's always going to be like tight end, wide receiver two, and then maybe wide receiver one if you're lucky is the third read in progression. But so often you don't get there. Like, so often it's read one, read two, throw. And so, I have greater good, which has got the superstar fullback and then the two wide receivers. And the only time that my wide receiver one ever gets targeted is if he gets a good head fake, which, I mean, is cool. It's nice whenever it happens, but could I do that with just a normie at the end of the day? Realistically, I probably could.
Right. Yeah. And you really could. I know I've got Bad Ideas has two-star receivers with a star tight end on that offense. And like for that offense, I like it, but I only work out of two wide receiver and two tight end sets. And I like it for that team, But that's really only because I've set the playbook up that both of them get targeted, but it also allows me that I don't have to play this depth chart change. If I just want to do a game plan, I can just choose to attack one without changing it. But yeah, I that's definitely one I don't quite understand. Like you said, you know, why exactly?
Well, also
It
too
doesn't. It
to Gavo's point too, right? At least with Jerry Rice, right? If you go back and look at his career up until like last season, he'd been leaning on Jerry Rice like extensively, right? Like 4, 5, even 6,000 receiving yard seasons on that wide receiver. But if you go look across their side, wide receiver one, Randy Moss has never really
he's had like
been
one
up
season
there. He
this
had
year.
one good season of 3,800 yards, but everything compared to that is muted. The numbers are still, for a wide receiver, kind of decent, pretty high, just because Bo throws the ball so much. But I don't know.
But he hadn't thrown as much this year for sure, though.
Well, yeah, not this year, but I mean in general, though.
In
Even when he
years of the
had those,
past,
yeah. I mean, I wish I understood the black magic behind it because at this point, I've got high pass awareness quarterbacks, and they just look at people wide open and then just fucking jerk
yeah,
off instead.
I
they
have
would, they'd
the
rather do
the
anything else
bad
than throw the football.
the bad ideas quarterback has 80 pass awareness as a prodigy, and it on a regular basis he'll go right past. He'll miss a first read. Hell, he'll miss a second read wide open and just skip past him. So I haven't seen it. There's occasionally, I still a couple times a game will see a throw where it does feel like the throw is really on point. But yeah, I'm not positive that it's significant enough.
Especially
And
against
I did
zone. That's been my problem with it. I don't play
mine.
shotgun at all.
I almost never. I mean, I say that I use some trips plays because with my two star wide receivers, I've actually found some of the wide receiver trip plays is nice because now I don't have to target the tight end, but that's what everyone focuses on. I can then hit an ISO against man with that wide receiver one or two, but I think I have one at one and one at three in my trips. And it's nice that way, but it's not one that I'm comfortable going and attacking a bunch unless it's a man team where I can use those cutting routes to get it. But
Are you like hypothesizing that like because he's immediately at the drop back that the read order is better than shotgun, or do you think it's the opposite? It is interesting. I'll have to
yeah,
look at it.
which we do know. I mean, we know that all the way back from Spam a lot days. If you
Sure, but
exclude
I mean,
like
if his point is
well,
that it reads better though, not just that
yeah,
it's
well, yeah. Well, what's even weird though, Kavo, is if you watch Dream Team when they play it when he passes at a three wide receiver, he still actually pretty much only throws to wide receiver three when he's if he's facing a man team, he's just using like the tight end post routes. If it's zone, he'll target wide receiver three, trying to catch him doing a cutting route into that seam that basically there's no play to cover or cover it well. And that's one is I've seen him do it, noticed it, but it's one that it's to me it's not seen. I don't feel like the going to like 90 pass awareness really is doing that much more than just going like 30 or 40, especially when you're targeting the same one every time anyway.
I think also it's just telling, right, that against zone he doesn't try and throw the ball, right? Like if pass awareness realistically worked like it should, 99 or 100 pass awareness should just pick apart zone. Like, we shouldn't even really need a pump fake SA rework and all this other stuff because there's always holes in zone. If pass awareness isn't going to find them, then what are we supposed to be doing? But he uses it to find open receivers against man. It does that. It does that well. But against zone, he has to resort to using a screen wide receiver that's built like a Slombo, and he runs inside, and he does things that aren't throwing the football.
Well, and I think a lot of that too is, and I've seen it some on Bad Ideas. Bad Ideas is the 80 pass awareness for me, and that quarterback does play against like zone teams better. Like that team destroys Ninja's team every time he plays them, but he does tend to hit the receivers a little better in spots compared to my other quarterbacks. But I still, yeah, it's not something that I still see or feel that I'm like, okay, this is exponentially better. I could see this value. I'm like, eh. I mean, for that quarterback, because of what the build is on the Bad Ideas for the quarterback, I'm like, I really wouldn't get that much more in the quarterback if I took it off.
Yeah,
But I'm not.
I actually have a
Yeah,
problem with it. Some games you'll be like, man, the pass awareness really helped me, and then other games you're like, I think it actually hurt me. As a matter of fact.
Oh no, it did. My Bad Ideas first. They played Dream Team twice. The first loss, that was the one I had to replay. Everyone saw, but it was the play action flags from goal line that my tight end first read was wide open right out the gate. It would have gave me a touchdown to win the game, and he checks down to like the tight end on the side that fumbles it or catches it right on the sideline, and I was just kind of like, how did you miss the first read that was wide open? And even Bo, who's the biggest awareness guy, was just like, oh, well, you'll miss reads. And I'm like, no. That's not the way that works. If I'm at 30 pass awareness and I miss the read, I'm okay with that. I'm not happy, but I get it. When I'm at 80, I should hit that every time because it was open as soon as the play started.
I think that's the only real problem I have with pass awareness as a stat that needs to get addressed at some point. Is like with every other stat, right? Pick whichever one you want, whether it's passing technique or pass power or pass accuracy, right? It's never going to be a time when I have SP to spend and I put it in one of the other stats and I'm like, well, this would be weaker potentially, right? But like the pass awareness, it totally could be the case, right? Like I can literally put points into pass awareness and be worse off for it than I was the game prior. Now that's not always true, but it's weird that it even is a potentiality. Like Bort really has to fucking hammer down what this skill does, because I think the whole point of it is that really pass awareness is just accuracy, but he felt like quarterbacks had too few stats, so he had to kind of artificially jigger one to exist. But it doesn't really make sense.
And I've said that for a while, that there's an issue there where I'm like, I'm okay with the theory that it helps ball placement because it says it does, Bort says it does to a level, but I'm like, maybe it needs to do that more if you're going to invest high levers.
I've definitely seen it do it, but I've also seen it not do it too. So, and at 99, I expect to see beautiful passes every time, not just you get one a game.
Yeah, exactly. And there's that too, is that you sure at 80, 90, 100 pass awareness, you do see some plays that you can go through your progressions exponentially faster. But then there's times we see 30 do it just the same and hit the open guy. So it's like the biggest thing for pass awareness should be, if it's not just flat changing the way you read, it should be kind of the auto seeing the open guy, and it doesn't.
I mean, I don't think read progression should be affected by anything in the game other than quick read, right? If you want lightning fast read order, there's an option for that. Pass awareness should be purely ball placement and spotting open receivers, and not part of the read progression. Just instantly, I see them, they're open because I have this pass awareness. I don't have to go through the progression. They're open, I throw the ball. That's all it really needs to do. Just pass, and pass placement is the biggest one. Because also too, if your pass placement's good, that powers passing power, right? Because pass power, you can fucking sling the shit out of the ball and get it to the receiver instantly, as long as the quarterback doesn't think there's a defender underneath the pass. As soon as he thinks there's a defender in the path of the ball, it's slow. So if pass awareness helped you actually find those passing lanes where you could actually zip the ball in there, it'd be so fucking dangerous.
Yeah, I'm still using the 90 power on Rebels quarterback, and it's the same thing. Sometimes I see it and I'm like, yes. And there's other times, yeah, quarterback still just I'm like, why? Of that throw of all throws, why is that one loose and relaxed? And it's that I keep pointing it out, but because the community doesn't agree or a few disagree so much, I don't know that he's going to change it.
All right, well, we're on a real tangent at this point. I think we
Yeah.
we picked this game. Edgar's going to beat Dream Team.
Yeah, I do. What about it? I haven't looked at it yet. Obviously, I won't use that again. That was basically me going and truly selling out and just going, you know what? Because I've used those goal line plays actually do deal with like even wide receiver screens really well. It's just simply that to do them, if they throw deep on you, you almost are guaranteed to give it up. So it's like that. I won't use that again because it's just for a champ game. That's too risky. But it was one I wanted to see. I wanted to see really how it was going to handle that wide receiver because that's one I get frustrated with is even if you hit that wide receiver as he's catching the ball, he'll break it. And I'm like, that to me that has to change. If they're in the middle of a catch, there's no way someone catches it and breaks the tackle. But that one, I'll have to figure it out and I'll look at it. But it's one I won't be able to use that play.
I mean, looking at the most recent game they played, Edgar had
It's literally just that
6.1 yards to carry and 7.3 yards an attempt on the pass. Like,
it's actually if you look at every time he's played pushback, bad ideas, or rebels, all my I played him 5 times total. Every single time I get 500 yards at least. It's just that one game I give up a kick return and a punt return. The other one it was a bad up defense, and then the other ones it was just high fumble numbers.
I mean,
I
if you assume that these results here are pass run, which is what I'm gonna guess they are, like, I don't know that he can do anything versus this offense. And worse, if some of this is run tags, like he's supremely fucked, allowing 6.1 yards to carry. You broke
I
23
think
tackles that game.
yeah, I think that's the lowest amount of all my halfbacks have done really well against him.
I mean,
And
yeah,
which
the
we've seen
tackles, yeah.
as many as he misses tackles, it's just going to be the case. So it's one I'll have to play that game, even mentally, of assuming he's going to try to stop that, but also knowing. I mean, my offense doesn't make it easy on him either because I've got the tight end, the receiver, and the halfback. So in any fashion, if he sells out to take out one, he's in deep water. So he still has to figure out the same way I've got to figure out. I think though in that scenario, I still have just off of that, I should have the advantage in the aspect of taking a chance because if he can sell out to take out the halfback, but he's not proven he can do it.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
And there's no way for him to take out the halfback and not leave my tight end just running home. And that tight end, Evan Ingram, I mean, he's at this point he's the most prolific tight end in the game because if you leave him one on one too much, he scores 3 or 4 touchdowns on you.
I mean, calm down a little bit. That's only because Dola might fold to his team. Otherwise, it'd be P. Simpson.
Well, that was one. P. Simpson was great, and I really liked that build, but it wasn't. To me, it'll get you repetitive yards up and down the field, versus Evan Ingram's the one that if you leave him ISO'd, he's
Yeah,
going
but
for 60.
I don't know if I give
And
a shit
it's
about that for a
consistently.
tight end, though. Honestly, I think I'd rather that always be the wide receiver. Like the tight end as your big play threat. It's like, yeah, it's kind of cool, I guess. But like, P. Simpson was so good because Dolomite runs at you first, second down, nothing happens. Okay, well, it's 3rd and 9. I throw it to P. Simpson, nothing you can do about it. He catches it every single time. Triple cover him, doesn't matter. It's just so hard to get him off the field.
You're right.
But
let's move on to the next one, or we'll sit on this one forever.
yeah. What you want to do? Ghost League next?
Yeah, that'd be the next vet league.
You want to tee this one up for us, Arthur? Yeah, sacks is big. All right. Well, I'm gonna call the defense for the Vikings this game. Zachary's gonna call the offense for the Vikings. Obviously, it's against Edgar. We're gonna win. That's it.
Ellix has got prayers, and these teams actually play each other really well. And this is actually the best offense I've seen out of Zachary in a long time. I'll give him credit. And it's gonna be fun. That's one. The part there is like Vikings have a star D line versus Bad Idea has a normal D line. That's a big factor. But then you're also in the snow. It causes fumbles, and I force fumbles at a high rate.
I hear you there. I worry about you in this game just because that D line's pretty good on the Minnesota Vikings. It's not the one we developed more recently, but it's a more traditional. It's a first step spin cycle, like 60 sprint, 60 quickness kind of D line in the snow. Like, just recently I got sacked 16 fucking times in my game against Monsoon, right? In the first playoff game, which was unusual, but this is exactly the kind of team that would do the same thing, right? Like first up spin cycle, 60 sprint. You could end up getting yourself in real trouble if you pass. Even with like pass run tags, like it just might be too much for a quarterback to handle that kind of pass rush. And then, so that's something though.
Yeah, and we still ran for basically 6 yards of carry. Where
But
the
you still
halfback broke. The
still
halfback
lost
broke
though.
50. But we went.
Yeah.
It went to 48-45 overtime, and it was a. I remember watching this game, and it was just a crazy game because both teams caused turnovers. In fact, bad ideas fumbled a lot in that game.
Both teams had 3 fumbles lost, but Minnesota fumbled 6 times. Bad ideas fumbled 4.
But bad ideas threw a pick, or no, Minnesota threw a pick.
Through one pick, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like definitely in the air, you killed us that game. On the ground, it was pretty good. I mean, you can't complain about 5.8 yards to carry. Now, I know that in my case, I was pass run that game because it was just defaults, and I'm assuming it was the same for you, but it definitely, on our end, we ran for 7.8 and threw for 8 yards to carry, which, it's not 15, but you're still happy to throw for 8 yards an attempt as well.
I'll be right back.
So, it might be one of those things where it's just a complete bloodbath, and it's just neither defense can do anything against the other, and it's just that you both go score against each other nonstop. I think it was just clear. No, it was rain.
No,
Heavy rain, in fact. Heavy rain. You know what? I think that gave Edgar a big advantage because he has an actual Slombo back on that team, and Minnesota Vikings uses an elusive back. So heavy
Yeah,
rain.
this is the 100 halfback.
Yeah. So this is the Slomboest halfback. Um, heavy rain really gave you an advantage there, and you still couldn't eke it out. So I don't know. Maybe I'm taking it back. Maybe it's a bit favored toward us. The only problem being, of course, that elusive backs are slower in the snow, which kind of sucks. But heavy rain against Slombo is a real big deal. It's almost impossible to tackle him, and he only managed. Well, no, he only. I say only. He broke 49 tackles that game. He'll break less this game. Cold always is going to benefit anyone that runs power, right, or has power hitting. That's the real concern. I don't know if Edgar has monster hit on bad ideas or if it's only like strip technique and that kind of stuff. But if he has monster hit everywhere, we could be fucked anyway. Just because, you got an elusive back. I don't think the elusive back has brace for impact. You get popped 2 or 3 times with a monster hit, that might just kill your run game. They could get kind of ugly off of that. The other thing, too, is in that game, we had 2 kick return touchdowns, which I don't think you can rely on that. Without those, we lose that game. So, it always seems too like kick return touchdowns in the snow are very uncommon for whatever reason.
Okay, I'm back.
I don't know. What's your read here, Arthur? Chime in.
No, because only the one linebacker is the extra dumb that does 100 tech, 100 strip, 100 power tackling, but all the others have a lot lower. So there's no monster. Oh, he's still phenomenal. He's 170 tackles. He's got 44 missed, which is still shocking, but he
I
doesn't
mean,
really seem to get affected by weather, but he's not a high physical guy because of all the tackling and pursuit.
the only thing I'd say about him though is that he doesn't cause fumbles. It's been 29 games this season. He's caused 8 fumbles.
There's
Three of them,
I keep
3 of them were in that game in the heavy rain.
I keep forgetting to move him because he traditionally plays dead center, the middle linebacker, but I've noticed just because of zone, even with good break run block, that's the one flaw with zone is that they still drop back to a level. And because of it, even with good break run block, he doesn't get off a ton. But that's one is I think if I moved him to a different position, he could probably cause more.
You'd almost been better off if this was a strong safety build this way instead.
Yeah.
Just because
I
he's
can't disagree.
coming downhill, he's not blocked.
Downhill. Yeah, my free safety, the one that plays only free safety, actually does. I think both the safeties force more fumbles than anyone on the team. I think they're both at like 13. Because exactly, even though they have lower power tackling, just because with the strip and 100 tackling technique, they just come downhill and they get a little more of the power with the strip.
I think too a big part
And
of
there's a faster.
fumbles. I think fumbles happen a lot when you get side shotted, right? Like I think it's very rare that you see like a
Well,
halfback's running straight at somebody and he just gets plowed and he fumbles, right? More often, he runs up, he turns his side to them to try and go around or something like that, then gets fucking creamed and cough up the football. And I think strong safeties and free safeties, obviously both, they're way more likely to get those shots than like a middle linebacker or even an outside linebacker.
yeah, what's crazy actually, even you're talking about that, is I'm looking just over all the players, and he's actually got some of the lowest fumble cause, but compared to all the others, and they've all got much lower power than him, and I think that's simply of, like you said, they're all coming from the side. They're all hitting. They're all having more angles versus, like you said, head on.
But back to the game itself here. Yeah, I don't know. This one feels like a coin flip to me. Yeah, Michael Bennett's pretty good. So, and credit to H. Zachary, by the way, right? Like, I've been checked out of vet this whole season, so he's just been dealing with my zone defaults, which according to Edgar are you can't really just ride defaults as zone. And not to say he's wrong, because people score like fiends against us some games. It's just H. Zachary tends to score even more than that.
That's a
So
lot of it there. Exactly that, because that's the one. Once your team gets up, zone can it either will just collapse when you're up, or it just absolutely goes nuts when you're up. And that's the one, yeah. Like just looking through Minnesota's games, they'll win a bunch of games and then they'll just lose games that even you're kind of like, huh. But a lot of it's them just scoring really well.
yeah, it's 100% on me being lazy because the defense is not locked tight, not by a long shot. It has the potential to be. I just don't put in the effort to get it there. Um, obviously, I will for the game tomorrow, but you know, a lot of the success of the team has to be given solely to him, and I have a very small part of that, very very small. But I'm going to vote for Russ. I think we'll take it. Oh, then he just walks away without saying anything. Riveting. Oh, he is typing. He's just listening. You don't have an opinion? I actually agree, though. I think this game's interesting. This might be the game that I'm most like interested to watch from like a purely like just the gameplay perspective, right? And that it's probably going to be pretty wild, whatever ends up happening.
Okay, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Yeah, I don't like it. I think I'll win simply of Zachary's record against me in general is not great, but this is definitely, like I said it earlier, this is the best offense I've seen out of him, period. So it's still me. I'm going to have to find ways to figure out that offense, dealing with that offense.
Yeah, maybe the only concern will be H. Zachary doesn't do a lot of playoff game calling, so he maybe has a little bit less experience in the snow. And I'm not quite sure how his offense stacks up against zone versus man. He kills man teams. Like, this team just dogs on man team is bad. But it seems like against other zone teams, it's turned into a real toss up. Like, fact for you, is that a zone team, Kaboth, or is that man or a hybrid? Fuck you, yeah.
No, no, no. I called it fact for you too. 'Cause even AGerm last time was like, no, it's fuck you. And I'm like, no, it's, I'm like, whatever.
Zone blitz or
It's
man
just that,
blitz then? Okay. 4-3 blitz, yeah. But I mean, yeah, if you look at like House of Drunken Lads, You lost there. Southside Rebels lost there, and like Olympus Brood, I assume it's still zone. I could be wrong. Yeah, Pushback is zone. Like most of the losses that he has, he loses because the offense doesn't perform, and it's specifically because those also happen to be zone teams. It seems like almost every time. Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah,
He only loses to
that's
really good teams.
yeah. Like in all those teams, they're not because even all those teams, I've played them all cable 1,000 times at this point, and those teams give zone defenses fits in general anyway.
He's definitely on the up and up. I'll say either way, right? Like H. Zachary, he definitely doesn't need me around either way, but he's going to be up there sooner rather than later in terms of better coaches. Yeah, I call Tampa too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was heavy rain. It was a ridiculous game. I remember watching it because it was one. It got just a book I'd used against one of his teams or something, and it was it was one I was like, "Ah, I'll get it." And then I watched it, I'm like, holy hell.
I think as long as the halfback does his job in the snow, we're going to be fine. I think that's really what it comes down to. We haven't seen a lot of traditional elusive backs in playoffs recently, you know? I don't even know what to expect out of them anymore.
They usually in snow and stuff, they usually do really well because almost their fakes work better to me in the snow than outside of a Slumbo style. Just because you'll see him that when a guy's coming up, if the guy doesn't just beeline straight at him, if it pauses at all, you almost see without a SA, you see the fake freeze people up in the snow.
I think Badius, you still have to assume, is the favorite. Just having a Slomboist in the
I mean,
snow.
I mean, I don't think it's much of an argument. He's been the best halfback this season in vet, even against
Yeah.
the top teams.
Yeah, I agree. And then just from an experience standpoint, even though I'm calling the defense, it's with a defense I'm less comfortable with. It's zone, which compared to man, I've got way, way less experience with. H. Zachary has way less experience calling playoff games. Dan has less experience calling games against zone, which he's playing against. So I think it definitely the underdogs. I don't know if we're like crazy underdogs. Maybe it's like 40, 60 or
That
something, but
that's mine. I mean, just from a raw standpoint, just because of like I said, experience level, and I agree with Ellix on this aspect that even though Ellix has great experience because it's not what he's traditionally used to game planning with, I should have the advantage, but I think the Minnesota Vikings team is actually good enough that it's not one that I'm going to say if I wasn't the owner and just looking at the teams, I would say Bad Ideas should have the advantage, but it's not something that like if they lose, it's like holy shit, this is the greatest upset ever. It'd be like a 60-40.
sorry, I'm just gonna stop for 1 second. Do you have 62,000 fucking flex, Arthur?
Yes, he does.
That's that's insane.
And now we know why he has 7 fucking teams.
Jesus Christ. All right, well, I'm ready to move on though.
So what's our next league? Mercury. Oh, this is Cavo versus
Is this
Cavo.
Kavoth versus Kavoth? Okay, I have a prediction
Yes.
here. I'm gonna nail this one.
Oh, it's if this one to me, I don't care what set is besides it, is if Six Semper doesn't win, it's a massive failure. They've just been exponentially a better team.
You can't fail against yourself.
Yeah, that's what I said. Six Semper, I've played him a couple times. It is a really good team. Even that is like I want at some point go over the receiver builds with you because they don't care if it's a man or I've noticed they don't care if it's man or zone. They find ways to catch the ball.
Now, I guess here's a question: are you going to actually game plan this one, or are you just going to smash the defaults into each other? Okay, the defaults, yeah. That's all.
Was it really?
Right there. At 10-16.
And six, was there crazy turnovers for it?
Yeah, I mean,
No, what
if you look at the stat line, you beat the hell out of yourself. You had double the yardage. You just
was
yeah, it was
turnovers.
a crazy turnover game. Plus 4 turnovers. Yeah,
Was
absolutely not.
what was the weather?
Clear though. It was clear.
Oh, completely clear. But yeah, just a you turned it over a ton, and I. But that's the one. This is one. Even though you can't fail against yourself, even at defaults, it would be a massive collapse by Six Semper if they didn't just absolutely win.
I mean, I thought the same thing about Frost Giant versus Grape Apes last season, right? And then Grape Apes
Even pushback versus
kind of took
and
him to the
pushback
woodshed.
versus rebels.
Yeah, and pushback like sometimes like just I think sometimes you start to underestimate your own teams, right? You're like, well, this team I know is better, but then you're still like,
Yeah,
well, this team is good enough
well,
actually. We're
because
any given day.
we've seen them play. That was the one last year. We had saw them play, and we're like, I mean, the way they played each other, there shouldn't be anything, and they just went off.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like it does that sometimes. Though, where like the team that you expect, especially when you play yourself, team you expect to win just doesn't for some reason. But in this one though, like the stats are pretty damning. 150 yards of offense when you have plus 4 turnovers. I don't think that there's much hope.
Yeah, because you just the fact that fact for you didn't fumble at all, and I've seen Six Semper plays my teams, they force tons of fumbles. So that to me is almost just a fluke in itself that they didn't turn it over at all in that game either.
I'm gonna take my own second here to sip away for 1 minute, but then I'll be back. I don't know if there's much to really cover on this game any more than that though.
Wind League. Oh yeah, It's gonna be Jarvis versus Gonema. Defense, especially when you're getting into snow and weather. The defense is just. I mean, we see it time. It's funny that it's always kind of the phrasing for even real football that you consistently see it happen, but even for our game in GLB2, it's just that having a really good defense in this game when offenses can be so prolific that managing to have one really good makes a ton of difference. That your offense can just be okay and get you a lot of wins. And Gonema's this defense, I've played it a couple times at that. If as long as his offense just doesn't some games it does nothing, in another game it looks amazing. But his defense in any game looks good for the most part. I just don't know if, and I wish D Carbo was on Discord, even though we know he won't, because he's a great coach, but he always just ends up missing something to a level. And he also has he's always any team he does, he has really strong tendencies. Now, if like on some scenario that say Ganema doesn't do anything for it, then I would say sure, Jarvis could win. But assuming Ganema likes championships, assuming he game plans, I just don't know that Jarvis can because Jarvis also runs like a 3-3-5 type, I believe. Yeah, and it's all prodigies, which I just even though you and Cavo and I did a full prodigy team that was actually really good, I don't think I just don't advise it to anybody. Simply for the fact when you play a good offensive teams, especially since franchises popped up, it's hard. Jarvis also is a very, very heavy pass team, even with this hat star halfback. I want to say anytime I've scouted him, he's like a 70% pass team. And the one thing you just don't do well against Ganema right now usually is pass. He sacks you a lot. He's got Ganema's got star corners and everything everywhere as well. I know Ganema, I think, went to a prodigy halfback on this team. Yeah. And so, I mean, if he had a star halfback, I would say Ganema would run with it because Jarvis just for some reason doesn't tackle well. So I this just off of experience dealing with them, I would have to give the advantage to Disaster. It's not saying Jarvis can't win because they'll have those. They'll have games where they look amazing, and then they'll have 5 games they look bad. Gautam is a guy I've had a really over the years, I've had a really good relationship with Gautama. And when he's an active guy, which when he made the team, he gets active and then he might disappear. He's really good about manipulating his traits and things in an aspect that he still gets really good builds without being very expensive. And that's a lot of it. But also is, when you look at this team, because he went, 2-star receivers, a star tight end, and a star quarterback. So he went prodigy halfback. So obviously he's going on the basis. I mean, you can already go out the gate. He's not going to run a lot. He's going to run a decent amount, but it's not enough that if he's not making his halfback the focal point, you don't have to have the star. It's just that he's ran. How much has he ran? Yeah, see, I mean, you see how much drastically less he's ran the ball. But when that matters, yeah. Jarvis, I told you Jarvis is like a 70% pass offense, but he's got I think 2 or 3-star receivers and a star tight end. Yep, right, exactly. I don't know. Yeah, you have to look at that. Jarvis. Yeah, it's actually been all of them have been good matchups. Yeah, so which bodes great. Now I know Gonema wasn't active then. I have to assume Gonema's going to actually be active at least for the champ game, which I think that's where the big difference comes. And I don't know how active Decarbo actually is on game planning. Yep. Yeah, it was for me too. And I gotta get a customer. I'll be right back.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. I got called on to make snacks all of a sudden. I I have to imagine Ganema wins this though, right? Like if Ganema loses this game, Joker, yeah, Joker's pretty good. Like, but and DeCarbo, but that's the thing about DeCarbo, right? I feel like he either wins or loses by a lot, and there's no in between. And I just, right, I get you. I don't know, but like, was Ganema just doing defaults though? You know, like it's hard to know. But it just was that true? I thought like GE was actually the first or something like that. Oh, and rookie. Okay, okay. Sure. Yeah. But DeCarbo's always been better, it seemed like to me, in the lower tiers before getting to vet. And I felt like at vet he always kind of hit a brick wall where he was good, but never quite at that elite level. I just can't imagine like Ganema. It would be a real like kind of fall from grace, in my opinion, to go from being like one of the best coaches ever to being able to lose a game like this. So it might just be a matchup thing, though. At that point, you know. Yeah, but then they lost to Grape Apes badly. They lost to yeah. That's the only thing. And like Grape Apes isn't even good this season, and Grape Apes beat the shit out of them. They lost to Airborne Screaming Eagles, which has always been like the punching bag of elite, where they're too good for any regular league, but too bad for elite. You know, they're still an elite. you can't get rid of them. They always are at like rank 12 because they lose their asses off in elite league itself, but beat everybody on ladder. And not this season, clearly, but generally speaking, though. Yeah, like every ladder game, basically. Like, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, they crush the ladder usually, and then just lose like hell in the actual elite league. It's kind of funny. It's a team where it's truly like the nightmare scenario that you would think of when it comes to elite league, right? Where like you're that 11 or 12 position, and any other league you'd go and just win it like handily, but you're stuck in elite and you can't compete. But it's okay. I imagine that H. Zachary is going to fold that team at the end of the season because Vikings is getting into elite, and Vikings is a much better team. I have to think so. Hopefully, he'll have a better chance of competing. God damn! What the fuck? What? What the fuck did I just watch? Literally 100-yard punt. Uh, I don't even understand. Okay. I don't know how his punter has more than 100 punt power, but clearly he does. The other thing I would say about this matchup, although I did say about the the last game too is that Jarvis is usually pretty speed heavy, which Snow hurts. But I thought the same thing about
Linebacker.
that. I thought that's why he would lose the testicle game as well, though, because of that reliance on speed. But he won it, so I don't know.
And I watched part of that game, and I told Joker I think he made a mistake because Joker did some weird play calling.
Did he?
He was
I
like,
didn't watch it.
oh, he had some plays where he was zone blitzing half the house, and he was getting hit with like screens. And I told him like, dude,
Yeah.
those killed you, and he was like, those weren't bad plays. He was like showing me the stats, and I'm like, just because the stats look good, when you did give up the plays, it was bad.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like with any play, even if you get like 10 tackles for losses, if the 11th play goes to the house, was it really worth
That's
the
my
call?
Yeah, right. Even if I'm not too upset if I give up 1 out of 10, but there
Yeah.
was some that it was worth. But Jarvis actually too, he uses. I've noticed on that quarterback. See, here you go. Here's like one where he uses this, and that's the one. He's like, well, it only gave up this thing. I'm like, but you basically give up the first down, even if it's only 5 yards. But Jarvis, weird things like that happened a bunch in the game. I know Joker was mad, but also Jarvis is one of the only quarterbacks I've seen out like bad ideas has like silver pump fake just because it's the team's bad ideas, and it doesn't look horrible. But I see pump fake on his team fire. So when he played him zone, it's weird because it may not fake the guy that it's intended to, but then somehow he still gets a catch out of it almost every time.
I mean, I might be changing my mind though watching this game here. Those screens are not going to work against Ganema because he's playing man, but like he's actually running the ball outside, and he's doing it against zone. Man's way weaker against those outside runs than zone is.
It's the same thing, another blitz, but it gives up a. And Jarvis is an elusive back,
Yeah, for sure he's an
which
elusive back.
I still just don't know how that Ghanima defense. The offense has been bad, but the defense has been really good for Ghanima's team. I just don't know how Jarvis is going to handle that.
Yeah, I have to think it just comes down to experience, right? I don't know. It's
Well,
it's
that's
always
one
going to
too.
be hard for me to vote against a coach that's been at the heights that Ginnima's been at before. Like
Well, this
coaches
right
like
here, you see this. It's a 2-man press, and Jarvis uses this a lot, and then
I
it
mean,
struggles, and it's
yeah, 2-man press is bad.
and
Oh,
yeah.
that's the other thing about DeCarbo. Famously, Jarvis can't fucking tackle. That's always been a problem of them.
No, this specific Jarvis team, it was in Bad Ideas League half its time, and he would basically every season he would be a number 1 or 2 seed, and then come playoffs he loses the game he loses in playoffs is lost by like 30. And I know like he lost to Bad Ideas in one of them big. I think last season he lost to he didn't even make it last season. He lost at the end. It's like that. Is it
Crazy run.
once
They get down the field like that when the entire defense is firing contain expert too. It's pretty crazy. Just couldn't tackle.
yeah, but
Yeah.
no, they don't. I think he's got a really good pass rush because he was in Green Bay Freeze Adder's heavy pass team so long
Mm.
that he's got a decent pass defense, but he doesn't have a run defense.
Nice little move there. I can't stand spin lately. I gotta say, when it was just my own thing, me and Feep together, just doing spin and Viper, you know, it was the cool kids club. But now everyone uses fucking spin, and I hate it. I can't stand to watch it.
Well, you're your own worst enemy. It's your own fault.
You think so? I think it's. I think what's so important about spin though is that it helps you get through the line. I actually don't even care about open field spins anymore. But like when you're going against like a 5-2 line, or you're playing like 3-3-5 and somebody's coming down and filling a gap, that spin gets you through that line without the balance loss, without a tackle attempt, and then all of a sudden you've got momentum and you're in the secondary. and I think that's huge. You might be right, but I'm not. I'm not certain. I haven't seen it in a while to say, but like, absolutely, you could be right. I've been on the spin train for so long that like I just don't know anymore. Shut the fuck up, Hothandz, about juke. Absolutely not. Don't take juke.
I can't say anything. I'm using it.
You should feel ashamed of yourself.
I know, but that's why I did it. Sometimes I like to be ashamed and then make it do it.
Damn, look how slow that corner is. What the hell is that about? Why is he so slow? Do you see that? Like, you just got straight outran. 4.85. He's not even that slow. That's
The
weird.
biggest thing is Jarvis made a terrible mistake is he went so heavy prodigy on that defense.
I
He
did
would
notice
have
that
been
he's got no stars.
he would have been better having a couple. The reality is we've talked about this is that prodigies are good if you have like if you just end up making a roster and have a little cap space and you're like, you know what, I could throw a prodigy here, sure. But just in general, stars are still just so much better.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
What's the wide receiver speed?
I don't think he's that fast. Honestly, he's not that fast. Yeah, he's not even that
Yeah.
fast. I don't know. That's a weird looking play because he just gets straight fucking outran.
Does he do a little fake right there before?
He does, but like he doesn't even really. He loses like one step.
But it just created just enough space.
But then afterwards, like he just smokes
Well,
him.
well, that's well, and that's really that's your even though it's a .1 difference
Yeah, I
and
get
it's
it, but usually the balance loss after the catch and like setting your feet gives the defender time to catch back and make the tackle attempt anyway, even if it's diving.
he didn't lose any speed on the catch this time, really.
He did though. Like watch at full speed. He does lose speed on the catch.
But does the cornerback slow down? Right?
See, he
Yeah, the
loses it.
cornerback
The cornerback stops for some reason,
he
which makes
stops,
no sense.
so then it just became an acceleration thing difference.
Like he stops right there for no reason, and then he's fucked.
Yeah.
Maybe. Weird play
Oh,
though.
and I did
Beautiful
that on the
pass though.
Rebels.
That fucking
Yeah,
pass
I
was
did
on
that
the
on the
money.
Rebels. I realized I had my safeties were missing their last set of SAs all season
I've
until
done that. Yeah.
yeah, I think my halfback didn't have his third SA until like 10 games
Oh shit!
ago.
That was almost a feet field goal block there. Did you see
Now
that?
it was one that but because Bort removed it.
Did he actually get the?
Yeah, he's there.
I don't. I think that was
He's
one take too slow. I don't know if
no
he
look,
actually got it.
he's hitting him as he's kicking it. It's just that it doesn't matter
I
in
know
the
you
game
can't
because
do it. I know you can't do it either way now, but I don't. I'm actually not sure if that's on the money or not.
I
Either
mean
way, though.
he if you see he's diving. That defender's the one diving right there, so it's one he was there.
I just remember when Feep was testing it, like until the placeholder is actually down, the kicker can make the kick.
Yeah, I think that's one that's just right there where Bort had it set where nope, you gotta stop.
Because I remember when I was play Feep, I would put in my halfback because he had power running as the placeholder because then you couldn't tackle him, so you couldn't do it to me. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
giving this one Ganema. I just think experience wise, I have to go Ganema. Like I said, any of
yeah,
those older coaches, I just have to believe in them.
that's mine. I assume Ganema actually wakes up and game plans and just takes it.
But I would say if DeCarbo does win it, like that's a big win for him. I don't want to talk about this game. No, this is your job. You're the host.
Damn, look at those numbers on his ratings. 79 in pass defense.
Yeah, he's got a lot of deflecting
Deflection,
or cover tech or
awareness,
something.
coverage check.
Yeah, something he's got high.
It's gotta be high everywhere on the defense to do that.
Either that, or he's got a bunch of corners that artificially inflate it. 4, maybe a little bit more than normal, but not too much. I
Yes,
don't
because it makes no
understand it.
sense. Well, look
Yeah.
at their records too. 23 and 6, and then look at Monsoon's. He's 5th. But Monsoon's been playing tougher vet teams, I think. He didn't make it.
Yeah, he lost more games in league. He just couldn't make it.
Yeah, he wasn't active.
Yeah.
Yep.
I told you, Grape Apes, they had a season. I
It
don't
was
understand it.
well, I do actually know the answer.
Yeah.
I actually I know the answer. I know. Yeah, I
Yeah, well,
noticed it the other day. The answer is simply of just the only team I've seen that can just flat throw good deep routes is Cavo.
mhm.
This season, outside of Cavo's team, just running straight deep routes a lot has for most teams I saw, the pass completion rate went way down this year.
What is GE doing? He's got $1.1 million of cap space and isn't using it. What the
I've already
fuck?
pointed that out. I already pointed out once last season.
What a jackass. That's your prodigy wide receiver there on a high contract.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, so much there just doesn't. Why? Why have star linemen when you could have taken those off and had that as a star receiver?
Yeah, he's really more of a mercenary for hire. I don't know if that
I
really.
mean, yeah, he 100% was. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess not even really
He,
kind of. It just was.
he was, yeah,
I,
he was not a
I
part of
don't
that
know if
project.
Lando was either. He was kind of blackmailed into the whole thing also. So, but,
Yeah, well, I can understand Lando, but Boba Fett absolutely not. That guy was very clearly about just whoever would pay him the most.
yeah, he wouldn't been really part of the empire. I don't, who knows? Yeah, I'm not sure.
So many other people he could have used.
Yeah. Monsoon wins this. Like, please God. Realistically, like GE has happened to stumble across a few important truths. For one, he's finally realized the importance of having an actual pass rush, which has really boosted his teams because, primarily he used to be just pure run stopping everywhere, which means you could just air it out on him with no consequence whatsoever, just win games that way. Now at least he has a pass rush and you have to worry about that. Um, but offensively, he actually still struggles. Even in this game that he played today, he played Blood Ravens today actually, and even though he score wise beat the hell out of him, and yardage he actually lost. Uh, Monsoon had +4 turnovers against him. It wasn't a convincing win, even though the score line kind of implies it was. And then the other thing is just GE always relies on speed still, right? Like it's still just always I'm gonna run deep routes and I'm gonna try and get behind you, and then I'll have a quarterback that's not really a passing quarterback, and we'll just hope that he catches the open ball. And then I don't know, in the snow, I don't really believe in that.
I've been talking to Monsoon some. There's no reason Monsoon shouldn't win this game. I mean, literally, he's never lost to G except for this latter game today.
Yeah.
I think he's a much better team. I don't think G has enough experience running a normal offense, which
I
don't
mean,
get me wrong, this is one of his best teams because this is one of the only ones. What a punt, damn.
yeah,
It's one of his it's like the first time he's got a true passing quarterback. And I think he has more of a tight end similar to mine,
I mean, the
but
problem though is that he's still relying on goal line to do all his passing, which is gimmicky. As soon as you actually get a good call there, it just becomes a regular passing set with less options.
and
So I
the
don't.
other one too is you never know with the goal line. It's a great formation if you've got a good quarterback too, but I can't have confidence in the fact that G has it set up in a fashion that sure he may get some good plays out of it, but he could also turn in and just get a bunch of get sacked a bunch.
I mean, I just think that GE doesn't make good halfbacks. And, like, if you go look at that General Grievous, right? Like, it commits what I would call like the cardinal sin of a superstar halfback. When you have a superstar halfback, right? Like, when you make him at rookie, he's gonna make however many yards he gets on a carry, right? I'm not even gonna focus on it too much, but anywhere from like as low as 2 to as high as like 5.5 or something like that. If you look in rookie, he did actually pretty damn well. 4.9 is completely respectable for your yards per carry in rookie. And then in sophomore, it was still fine, 5.6. But here's where the cardinal sin happens at. On your way to vet, every season, if your halfback isn't doing better than last season, you fucked up somewhere. And he
Or at least almost the
regressed.
exact same
Yeah, and he regressed this season instead of getting better.
on a much weaker league, a
Right, yeah,
much weaker play.
oh, great. Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah,
like, yeah,
and
your halfback should always be on an ascension to more and more yard per carry. Now, once you're in
but
vet, sure, it can fluctuate and whatever. But
well,
like,
look right there where you're seeing. Here's the key: his average went down on the runs, but you're like, yards per game went down. But look how much more he's throwing to him quite a bit more, 40 more times.
I mean,
So I
40
mean,
more times is kind of neither here
wha-
nor there.
yeah, one more a game, but he's gotten less yards. Like you said, it shouldn't even as receiving. You're throwing to him more, but your numbers really went down.
Yeah, I
So
mean, it's just one of those things. Like, I've always run tag GE, but I've always run tag GE not because of his halfbacks, because they all suck. I've run tagged him because he's always got some weird fucking quarterback like Tebow or like Jamil
well,
Hollyway.
and this is the first one he doesn't have that
Right,
with.
and that's what I'm saying.
So
I would feel completely comfortable pass tagging this halfback, is my point. And
yes, yeah, he's got a decent. His defense has been decent, but usually when he plays Monsoon just takes him.
well, it's
And
also
this is
just that it's only one league, right? So like, everybody's in the same league. So there's like 4 or 5 teams that are actually good, and I'm not trying to say everyone else is bad, but like the competitive teams, right? And then everybody else is just kind of there. And you've got Rocky Mountain Oysters there at 2-12, and they're in the elite league. Air Azteca 0-14, and they're in the elite league. It ain't dead.
Interception ain't dead.
I don't even know if they have run defense at all. Like
It's not. It ain't much.
yeah. So I think he just pours it on in those kind of games, but I've never had a problem in my games with him. Like So yeah, I mean they're Blood Ravens. He averaged 3.9 yards a carry, which is whatever. Church, he averages 3.5 yards a carry, which is whatever.
That was even when I told Monsoon, I'm like, I would be confident of actually for me of because I know he likes to lean on his halfback. I'm like, I would basically the way he runs that team, I would call plays that double the tight end and just run tag him. And
Yeah,
I'm
I mean
just gonna
I'd be fine
go.
with that too. If you just call like dime smother or nickel smother and then just run tag him, that's equally fine. You know that GE doesn't have catching traffic. He always just goes speed demon and hopes that he can get a fake on you or something like that. So yeah, that would be fine to do too. Always. I've never found like this is like one of the better ones he's had, and it's still not great. It's the thing, like you said, as much emphasis he's had on the run game, he's never put out like a fearsome halfback. Not even one that I would consider like top 10 in any particular season, and it's just bizarre. And
Well,
like,
and I
yeah,
think it's because he's so focused on it that exact. No, it's
yeah. I mean, that
well.
could always be it too, just because he always has a weird
I think that's
quarterback and he
specifically
can't
it.
pass. Like maybe, but then again, this team kind of puts that into question too, though, because his halfback isn't doing awful, but it's not good either. So
And I think that's the thing is that exactly that is definitely a question in that point. Most of the time, it's his halfbacks might actually be decent. It's just that because the offense is so focused around him, we all just run tag it and call it a day. We don't like we half-ass game plan because we just go and we'll just take away the halfback and
yeah,
whatever. And in this scenario, it might be this is a scenario of he's got passing offense that could do it, but specifically in that, without G, he has he has almost no experience running an offense like this, like truly doesn't. And the fact of, and I've been saying this, and every time we stream and I watch the playoff games, even last season, and I've told all the new guys this, and they still keep doing it. I'm like, guys, when you get into this heavy snow, unless you just are those special guys with those special builds, you just can't keep throwing straight deep balls in the snow.
yeah.
And I think that's one of those things is he's probably still going to do that, or because or it's the fact of what his offense is, and I haven't looked at it recently. If it's all just to throw to into the tight end, then you're just simply going exactly that. Okay, you outside of your tight end, you have nothing in the pass. I'm literally just going to take that away and let the rest of my defense deal with your halfback.
I mean, that's why like I've
Which
been really worried about this team and playoffs is just because like, well, what are you gonna do? Well, I know if I see goal line, I'm just gonna pass tag goal line because it's impossible to actually run from goal line anyway. So I pass tag you in goal line. Whether I call TE smother or whether I call man base, I'm getting a double coverage anyway. That'll be fine. And then in one wide receiver, where you actually have a wide receiver in the field, yeah, pass run, call wide receiver one smother if you want to. Still call tight end smother if you want to. Like, I don't know. It feels too easy to deal with. Kind of
well,
the same as Springfield Adams, really.
well, and you say that, but remember this is the team that beat you in the playoffs.
I mean, it was in rookie and it was a fluke. It was like a +5 turnover game or whatever. Now, I will say that though, because I did get
We
sidetracked.
will never forget.
Yeah. I will say about this team though. On defense, he runs a 5-2 zone defense, and it should be completely dog shit and just get dunked on for like 70 points a game. And it doesn't because for some reason the quarterback doesn't read the blocking tight end as being open, even though he's wide fucking open every play. And it's weird, and I don't know why it happens, but it does happen. And
I've
yeah, I don't
mentioned
know.
that this formation, it's got a weird thing, but in general, I think we all agree Blood Raven should win.
Yeah.
We got sophomore elite. What is this? Underdogs versus orcs.
Underdog versus orcs. Like, strictly by the numbers, orcs just win this game, but I actually put my vote here on Hothandz.
I think underdogs is the one team orcs have struggled with.
That'd be true. Yeah, there it was. Yeah, they lost to them 13-23. Oh, but won that one, though, 14-10. So they played close, at least.
So we play close.
It'd be interesting to know what the weather was in both of those. Light rain. Light rain. Interesting. So both games in the rain. 19 mile per hour winds is fucking some winds, though. What was the other game's winds at? 2. So with no winds, orcs won. With heavy winds, underdogs won. We're going to have heavy winds again this game. Kind of saying there. Neither one of them passed particularly well against each other. Neither one of them ran particularly well against each other. They kind of just banged their heads against one another. Yeah, in both games. In both games, they couldn't do anything really consistently offensively.
I'll be right back.
Oh, God, he's got juke. He's going to lose this game just because of that. I've changed my mind. Watching this, actually, I'm getting a little bit more concerned for underdogs here. He does not have pass pressure. Like, Orcs has all day to throw this football. Must have gotten downed. Why would you catch that? It isn't okay. Well, whatever, I guess. Oh God, yeah. Like, see that, like that juke on the fucking goal line, like.
So for me, I give underdogs the advantage here, and this is purely based on what I've seen. And I've mentioned this monsoon when we were in the first round of playoffs. I had this up streaming all the games, and I was commenting, and he heard me a couple times. And I've made the point 1,000 times. Monsoon has this tendency, he still likes to chunk it deep a lot. And underdogs don't allow that well. But
I disagree.
Hothandz has been really good about, picking up what all of us vets say faster.
Agree with that.
Monsoon's gotten really good. I give him credit for being so new to the game, how good he's gotten. But he's done a lot of it on his own. And because of that, I think Hothandz has learned some of those things. Like I've said is, hey, when you get into these snow, they're right there. Use some of these cutting routes. Do these things that, create space rather than just hoping you can outrun someone in the snow.
I mean, yeah,
and that's
but I'm watching these games, man, and like the Orcs line is coming for the quarterback.
Yeah,
and then you watch when you watch the Orcs here, watch the line. Like, they're just fine. They're just fine. He's going to have all day long in the snow to throw, and Hothandz
right
won't.
there. Hothandz corners at early levels, I think they'll start struggling later. But at early levels, they have been really. I mean, he had 29 pass deflections in his first playoff game.
Yeah, I mean that is crazy. I'll give you
How many do they have on the season, Cavo? 31.
31, which is high, but ints are kind of low. Receptions allowed is average, I guess.
Wait, yeah, we don't know if screens are messing up that any.
Yeah, it's the average. I don't know. Like I'm just thinking, like consistency being hit in the snow, like pass pressure is better, and I'm just not seeing pass pressure here. It makes me worried.
And the other one too is underdogs halfback. He did it last year in playoffs, and even like the last couple games, his halfback just picks up at the end of the season. It's kind of interesting that it's done it the last 2 seasons now, where just towards the end of the season, it really picks up and does really well.
I mean, in both games
So
that
I think,
these teams have played, both their halfbacks have been pretty ineffectual.
yeah, you've powered through it. Yes, yes. It's quite humorous to watch that, but also like,
That's pretty cool. I had a wide receiver built like that on Stream Team on the original one, Chase Battle, but
yeah, I remember that.
it was just so rare to see it fire. The catch rate's good. Yeah, mine. He probably
Yeah,
seems similar to mine. Mine had 80 hands and 80 catch in traffic. I was actually pretty proud of it.
yeah, and he's only 32 reps, so it
But the
could be
problem
something.
is broken tackles, right? On 255 or on 155 receptions, he's broken 9 tackles. Like the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Unfortunately, you'd be better off just being a regular old speed head fake catch and traffic receiver. I mean, it's dope, no question. Kind of a deep cut at this point. That was a long time ago, but yeah, it was like 2005 or 6 or something. Um,
No, no, that was like 2012.
was it that? Okay, maybe my perception of time is fucked. I'm old now. Who knows? Yeah, why would you catch that even? I I originally thought underdogs because I know what the linebackers are like with underdogs. I thought that would match up well with the orcs. But after seeing the pass rush difference, I think I have to pick orcs. Just because I don't know if Hothandz can actually pass in the snow versus this, and I know for sure that the orcs can now. Yeah, I'm putting mine on the orcs. Yeah, and you got that. I mean, it's a squeaker, but yeah,
I've got underdogs, you've got orcs. What'd you say, Cavo?
coward.
He always does that. He doesn't want
You know, by the rules, there's absolutely not going to be a
there.
tie.
There's no reason to even talk about this game. If Kentucky's going to win by a bunch, it's a CPU.
The CPU, no. Guy,
Bob does.
I forgot that
Bob
Anatolia actually lost to a CPU. It's so bad.
Bob doesn't lose to CPUs.
Oh, imagine that. I don't think any good coach does. The only coach that loses to CPUs is GE.
Yeah, mine like this. It's not even worth talking about than me.
23 sacks.
Yeah,
All right,
right.
yeah. So anyway, Bob wins this. We're not going to talk about this game. Moving on. Okay, this is kind of interesting, at least.
This should be a good game.
Well, yeah. Lost last time they played 14-31.
It was towards the beginning of the year. What? No, was it? Yeah, 14.
14-31, yeah. They got absolutely hammered on offense. Like, they did nothing.
So, no, Joker runs the offense and DL Kurt. Yeah.
Maybe.
Kurt does the defense. Kurt has a tendency to wake up on Cavo in the playoffs.
I don't know. I don't know if it matters if your offense has put up 150 yards, though, you know?
Yeah. And he's played my team pretty well.
And I mean, I just have to think, like, this is a Kavoth team, so it's built solidly. It's a 5-2 cheese line in rookie. It's at its absolute peak strength. Yeah, but I don't know if that matters sometimes. Like, 5-2 cheese line in rookie is real fucking hard to deal with. Like, how many times did you sack him when you played?
Yeah, and I told Arthur and I were talking the other day, and I said that he's still hands down the best return guy.
Yeah, potentially, probably not. Like I said, it seems like returns always go down in the snow. Probably just to do with the speed difference or something. More time to get off the block or whatever it is. I did see that rookie touchback. Yeah,
So that
stiff
means also
arm. Stiff arm
that means
halfback
Arthur.
though.
That does mean Arthur's not getting any field goals.
Hey, you don't need field goals. You don't need field goals when you score touchdowns. Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, at that point, you ought to still just try him, just because.
No, 7 or 0. That's how it works. Yeah, see, this is the problem. Like 5-2 rookie trying to run the middle. Like, there's nothing here, and there's not ever going to be anything there.
How fast is the Osiris halfback?
He's a stiff arm, so he's going to be slow.
He seems like he's got some speed.
5'4". He's faster than he should be.
He's probably 40-ish.
No, he's faster than that at 5'4". Maybe 50.
No, I'm at 50 on mine, and I'm like 5'2" or 5'1".
Interesting. It's faster than I would have thought.
Yeah, so he probably.
Yeah, but I mean, does that? I don't. He's not going to run up the middle against this. Not against 5'2".
Yeah, this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
right.
Right? Like, I don't know.
And I'd assume he's going to game plan, which he could make some mistakes in the fact of he might try to go screens, but in rookie you're not fast enough, so you're susceptible to a lot of sacks on screens, and you don't get the screen out fast.
Well, he's not getting sacked every play though, so there's that going for him at least.
Yeah, Joker's a guy that's really outside of his just getting frustrated at things. He's gotten a lot better as a coach.
A little bit more natural workhorse is certainly a combination.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I would still generally just assume Cavo's going to win, even though he's not going to game plan. But it's one that Osiris can win this game.
I guess. I don't know if Osiris has the experience of dealing with 5'2" enough yet.
That would be that'd be my specific concern. I do agree, is that, yeah, he's just not going to have the experience of playing the old spam a lot because all he was just a agent on my
Yeah,
team
at the
then,
time.
and he's not.
Right.
There's that he can't go see that old data.
Like I said, especially in a rookie, a lot of the weaknesses of 5-2 are really heavily obscured. Like off tackle runs don't work that great yet because blocking from the tackles isn't particularly good, and halfbacks aren't particularly big playmakers yet. You can't run inside. There's a ton of pass pressure coming. I don't know. Easy to make a mistake and just get absolutely just dunked on. Yeah, that helps him. I'll give him like that, like 10-15% chance.
This is one I still. It's kind of like the Viking bad ideas. I have. It's like a 60-40. It's one that I think if Kurt and Joker actually decide to do game plans, they can make a win. But yeah, I don't know if they're set up to deal with that well. Their defense, I think their defense is going to be fine. The big question is their offense not going to fail them? And like you said, if they start getting sacked and strip sacked, then they're going to be dead.
Yeah. I just think it's so easy for it to go badly like that. Especially in snow, you get the consistency hit. Maybe they're at like 80 consistency on their quarterback and they're like, hey, it's fine. The sacks aren't that bad. Then you take the penalty from snow and all of a sudden your 80 consistency's 69. Nice. And you get sacked a fucking ton. Like, I don't know. Really hard to say. But I give the advantage to Kavoth just because it's Kavoth, right? Like, especially in rookie, like Kavoth, Bo, me, kind of some of the most prolific rookie coaches in terms of like likelihood to win. I don't know. I think it's going to be hard. I forget who owns Albuquerque Experiments. If you show me that, I'll remember who they are.
Neria.
Neria, that's right. Okay. I give us a Feep then. Even though Neria is a really good coach, like Feep is fucking weird, man. Like if you don't understand like what you're dealing with, there's no way you're gonna win a game like this. And I don't know if
Yeah,
Neria's been around long enough to understand what Wiggle Warriors is.
yeah. The big thing is franchise opened up feet to do so much.
And then yeah, when they play, they just beat the shit out of them both times.
Yeah,
Like
there's.
is
He's.
Wiggle Warriors easy to beat? Yeah, kinda.
I don't
But you
even
gotta
know if he's.
you gotta know
I
how to
don't think
do
he's
it.
even. I don't think he's even doing the screen stuff.
Is he not? What a baller.
Yeah, because he has no stars on defense.
Yeah, no stars at all on defense. I wonder if he's doing a completely like jigsaw defense. That'd be even more interesting than I. Well, he had the money probably.
It's feet, okay.
But it's
What?
unboosted. God damn it, Veep.
Hold on. What the hell is this a
It's
franchise?
not a franchise. It's just a team.
What the fuck is he doing?
He does Veep things. What do you mean? What is he doing?
But any fact, yeah, Feep should win this game. This is like a, to me, he's like a 90-10% type thing. There's no reason Feep shouldn't win. They've played good, and that's the one is Wiggle Wars. I think have played a lot of the other teams fairly well.
I'm mad beating him, but
He's fast.
decently fast. Yeah, I saw that 4.8. He's got like 70 sprint or something like that already. I guess so. I don't know why he wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't know why Feep didn't.
It's kind of strange. It has to be cheaper.
I know why Bob didn't, but I don't know why Feep didn't.
Yeah, I know why Bob didn't too, but with feet, strange. Especially because he did boost some players. So if you're gonna I don't know. Well, anyway. Okay, he's gonna win.
Yeah, because I think that's my star kicker build. That's 75 hard on a high contract
Yeah, of
in
course.
rookie.
It's Feep. You know he's attempting like 65-yard field goals just because he can.
Well, that, and I know he really likes that star kicker build that I have.
Anyway, though, I do think Neri is a good coach, and if he was playing even just a more traditional tenured coach, like if he was playing Ace of Spades or if he was playing H Zachary, I'd give him the go ahead actually. But yeah, he could probably take this game, but only because they play a more traditional, understandable form of the game, right? But with Feep, who knows what the fuck he's up to at any given time, right? And you've got to know what to do. I just think it makes it way harder than it would be for a normal coach.
Which, yeah, I mean, seeing it unboosted, it's saying that Neri could just come alive right here on him because that's, even in the past, that's kind of where
No,
it
yeah,
changes. But
Feep usually makes the playoffs and then loses. It's true, but
there's no reason.
it's true. I just give it to Feep just because experience wise alone, I just think it's gonna be hard to do that for a newer coach like Neria. Final league. We made it.
It's me versus Dolomite.
All right, Dolomite loses, and I'll tell you why. He sucks at rookie. I know he beat AGerm.
Well, hold on. Just look at that right there. Go back to that, Arthur. Just looking at this, look at those numbers of the low receiving tells you his receivers and tight ends, all of them are favoring speed, physicals a lot right now.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And we know at rookie, that's just not a good plan.
I did it. It was awful, but fun. How fast are they? Oh God.
Fucking A.
Yeah. Yeah, he's fast as fuck, boy. Yeah, he's got like 85 sprint. Yeah, that is not going to work in the snow.
What's his completion rate? 90. God.
He's got like a solid 33% completion rate.
Yeah, and
He's not dropping anything though. To his credit,
my D line is like the second best sacking defense in the game on rookie.
yeah.
Second or third.
Oh, that's weak compared to my sacks.
We played once and it was bad.
Uh,
Yeah, 27-0. How many times did I sack him?
yeah, sacking him would be important. 6 times.
So it wasn't as horrid, but yeah, 29% completion rate.
The other thing too, look at the time of possession. He didn't even have any time to get sacked. I mean, literally for 3/4 of the game, he didn't have the football. He couldn't run, but he made up for it by not being able to pass. Oh, juke. God. Yeah, it's bad, whatever it is. At least that gives Dolomite some help, that it's a terrible juke fucking halfback. That was a slow play action for goal line. Usually it's a lot faster than that. Yeah, he should. Yeah, he should have been throwing it right there. He completed his drop back. He didn't throw it. That's strange. Oh, 3-man front though. Didn't complete a pass even with throw the needle. No.
And that's the quarterback is the one thing I think Dolomite's weak on. His receivers in it being good, his tight ends
50%
in it good.
completion is okay though in rookie, but
It's not
114 sacks, and he look at the goddamn hurries. Holy fuck!
yeah. And playing against my defense in the snow with heavy wind, I don't know how he's going to complete anything.
448 hurries, a lot of fucking hurries. Also, too, if you go back to the game I saw at the start of this play here, look at all the first strike he's got in his offensive line. Like it's an okay SA, but it's a power multiplier. Like by itself, it doesn't do very much. It boosts the effectiveness of other SAs.
Well, and that's the one now too. Is I mean, I've got basically 90 snap everywhere.
Yeah.
So even
I mean,
even
you
if that
should.
means yeah, and that means for him to fire, he has it snap that high to get first strike to fire.
Well, first strike and fire just doesn't give you the effect if their snap is slower than yours. Doesn't give you the
No,
morale damage.
it can't fire. It's not supposed to fire if your opponent across from you has a higher snap.
No,
You
it's
have to
absolutely
have a
not true. It's absolutely not true. Yeah, it doesn't do anything
no.
because it by itself it doesn't do anything. Yeah, you
Well,
just can't lose
well that
balance, but that doesn't help
well
like its spin.
Ellix and I have talked. Ellix and I have talked about this on a stream before. That for especially for rookie ball, having high snap does on linemen does nothing but hurt you.
Yes, it hurts you.
Because
Yeah.
rookie is the one time the D line's always going to have better pass stuff, but even then, the run's not going to be much different. So you're starting the engagement to lose faster.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about this before, right? That like O line, you want to have your snaps close to without going over D line because you don't want to actually artificially increase your entropic roll decay rate. And so, if you're going for a strike, presumably you have high snap already, which is going to get you on the block sooner, which means you're going to lose rolls sooner, which means you're going to get rev kicked or lose, to the spin. It's not good. It's probably directly a result of him having so many hurries, is having first strike.
80.
80.
He started 80 day one.
But he's bitch made though, because my halfback started hit day one with 95.
Yeah, didn't you go 95? That was the funniest.
Yeah, I've
We were
got
building
95 elusive. Yeah.
there was a lot of things we did not talk to each other about how we're building our teams. Then we were starting to talk about stuff, and we're laughing that a lot of the stuff it was like it was similar in aspects, but yeah, he went more full.
Yeah, Edgar
full
wanted his team to actually win. I just wanted my team to ball out.
And that's the one, Dolomites D lines are always fast spinners.
Nothing's worse than a sack on 3rd and 7 in the goal line, though. Like,
I know.
it's so frustrating. It's short yardage. Like,
And that's
just
one
throw,
of those,
throw the football.
yeah. Yeah, I think he's already got like 88 catching traffic.
Yeah, he's got
I think
good
he's got
reception. He's
I think
got
he's got
400
4.
targets and 250 catches or something like that. It's not bad.
Yeah, and this team I've done one game plan all season, and that was this playoff game. Or no, I played a team that I knew was going to be all pass that I made all my defense pass tag, and that was it.
That defensive end's a little slow.
Yeah, they all have like 25 sprint.
You could have done higher.
I think their end builds only go to like 30 or 35.
Oh, are you using the same ones as me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
He's a good tight end.
Great tight end.
I'd make a bet he just replicated him.
I wouldn't change anything about that build until it stopped working. I'd run it till the fucking wheels fell off.
And he pretty much just rebuilt Sansal with, I'm assuming, what he felt needed to be changed.
I think that will be probably
He's
his
going to be
downfall in this game, though. If you go back
he's
and
going to
look
be
at
even slower.
if you go back and
His
look at the
only
original, go on,
the
finish your
what?
thought.
The big thing there is, like you said, is he's got, when we looked at that receiving, he's got so much physical snap sprint already that all that's just going to get half negated in snow. And like my corners already have like 80 deflection.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no shot he's gonna get behind you in the snow. That's a real problem. Now, if he has hard
Yeah.
cut, maybe he could make something happen still with like some of those slant routes or something, but I don't know if
That
I've
one's going
seen
yeah.
it is a lot of events. That's quite nice.
And I think they've only got 30 or 40 interception, and that's the end build. But, it was kind of me looking at stuff towards the end of last season in vet of looking at some stuff that I was just noticing. I'm like, high deflection just gets you more interceptions with just a 30 or 40 interception investment. That even on my man corners, I was like, you know what? I want that 30 or 40 int day one. And then they're going to be really fast corners. They're only like 50 speed now.
Yeah, I did
But at
something
rookie,
similar with greater
yeah,
good, high deflecting, low interceptions.
yeah, like I'm already at 8 deflection on those 2-star corners. Because I was like, it's rookie. I'm like, basically is just don't let you win catch and traffic all the time.
Yeah, he's always had good pass rush.
Yeah, he's always got, and he's got a good one still.
Hmm.
I think I recovered that one. Yeah, I got
You
lucky.
recovered it. You got lucky there, yeah. And then you get Mealy just literally gets strip sacked again.
Yeah, and that's one is like that was one of the big differences right out the gate of my defaults all season was like 3rd and 10. I was still, and 3rd and 12 and shit. I was still passing, but as soon as I went to playoffs, I was like, okay, I'll never fucking do that.
Well, that's when you should do it. They'll never see it coming.
Oh no, he will. Or he's because if you look at my tendencies, that's what they've done all season.
Yeah.
So I mean, he'll watch this and that's fine, but it's one I don't want to sit there and intentionally give up, like you said, free strip sacks in the playoffs.
This is his problem. So I was going to say before, his halfback. This is the same issue that's always kind of plagued him. His halfbacks suck real fucking hard until vet. They always have. They become really good. Like if you look at his other halfback, I don't know if you even is still around anymore.
You've got workhorse on a halfback.
Yeah, that's actually inexcusable. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. There's no reason to ever do that.
I think I've done it like once or twice just
Well,
because,
you were wrong to do it.
It was doing something. It was doing something just crazy on the halfback.
I think Hyoto Kaimara still has that halfback. Yeah. So if you
Yeah,
look at his
I think
halfback, it's absolutely terrible until vet, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay.
it's soft. It's pro league that it really awakens, which is normal.
Yeah, pro league. But like however he builds his halfback, the end build clearly works. It's fine, it's good. But whatever methodology he uses to get there, that doesn't work. He needs to change up his build order. Yeah, it probably is. It's probably just all
Yeah.
speed, and that's why it sucks. Because it doesn't
How
have any
fast?
playmaking. 4.29,
How
it's
fast?
blazing fast.
How fast is his rookie one now?
5, so he's like
60.
60-ish. Yeah.
He's close to 60, so he's probably done a little better, but still,
The workhorse
you know,
though,
if he
that's shaking me. I don't understand. Like I think he was like, okay, well, I've got early bloomer, so my condi's lower. I need to fix a workhorse, but I guarantee if he plugged at the build a bit more, he would have found a better way.
yeah, my guess is that he's going high, really high elusive and physical, so he used it to supplement, but
Yeah, but no, there's always a way on a halfback to do it. Like unless you're like hell or high water, I refuse to take Hometown Hero Road Warrior. You don't need workhorse.
yeah, it's not saying he can't beat me. I just don't know. Like I said, after seeing some of that and the speed and the receivers with snow and 22-mile-an-hour winds, he's gonna he's gonna struggle to be able to hit his receivers. So it's so much of, and I've got star corners that it's one of those. I'm like, okay, I'll just make sure to double up the tight ends.
Yeah, I just don't see a route forward here.
Yeah,
I,
but
I
I think
don't.
he knows. I think he knows his halfbacks aren't good enough in rookie. But you notice, like that's the games he loses is when you go look at the games he loses and he just can't pass at all.
Eh, yeah, it might
There's
be.
still a chance. There's a chance for it. It's still Dolomite, and he's getting better consistently. But it's one. Yeah, I'm not positive.
If it was a sophomore, I'd feel a lot better about it. Because I mean, like honestly, he's doing a lot of the same things that I'm doing on Greater Good, right? Like a lot of the same ideas. He's clearly doing as well. But the difference is that on Greater Good, I did it knowing I wasn't going to win. So, God, Juke, what are you doing?
Shits and gigs, baby. Shits and gigs.
So bad. Rookie should be its strongest time too. Defenses are slow. They don't have good pursuit, presumably. They're
Yeah, I don't.
balanced. Yeah, throwing backwards, it's a decision.
That they do that in that goal line play all the time. Play actions in general. See that right there. This is one of those plays that Ellix and I have been talking about for two tight ends messed up. It's not that the block tight ends covered somewhat too, but my first read always in this play is blocking tight end, so it should go tight end, wide receiver 1. Technically, the read goes all the way to 2. The tight end is the very last read in the progression, and it still is probably the highest targeted in like a tight end drive play. See, we're at blocking tight end. It should be going to wide receiver 1 now, but it goes straight over.
That's because it can't read zone and it thinks fucking he's open. It's like, oh, look at that cushion, he's open. But by the time the ball gets there, he's fucking not.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it does it even if it's zone or man. It just makes no sense, and I've seen it. It doesn't matter what level the game is for that play. It's the whole that formation has weird things that we tried to ask Board on. He didn't even respond about.
Yeah.
That they will just completely ignore progression routes.
Again, he thinks he's open. That's why
Yeah,
I've suggested that what needs to happen is that you have to literally give the quarterback ESP. You have to pre-roll the power roll and pre-roll like the time to arrival of the pass, and then base it off of how fast the receivers and the defenders are moving. And then you have to make a pass awareness roll to actually like gain that information, right?
Well, it's just like for mine in this one, in any fashion, it's to me is, and I get the part. The throw's not very fast because he's rookie with lower power. But in that one, it's like the whole point of having lower awareness is I only throw to the first read, or I go to my second, and you either throw it just because.
That one had
don't sit there
just to nobody.
Well, this is the same way. I have 30 awareness. All said now this one we go through fast because it should be.
Yeah, he threw to the safety though. Yeah. Of course, he was zipping it in there.
Yeah, and he wasn't even pressured on that one.
And Bort needs to fix that badly. So many times the quarterback will just throw the football just because, and there's nobody coming.
No, because at this one it's supposed to be blocking tight end, wide receiver 1, I think, then wide receiver 2 or halfback, and then tight end. And you do get a lot of times with this play is that they'll go to blocking tight end, and then they'll either hit 1, or on their way to get to 2, they see the tight end and hit them a lot. So this one, I rarely see him go to wide receiver 2 on this play. But it's one, like this play with no pressure, he just like you said, he teleports his reads and skips. He skips half his reads on this one play.
Yeah.
For no reason, because the guy's not open. There's no reason to think he's open. So at this point, I'm like, they're covered. But at that point, the tight end's the most open guy. Just the regular tight end. So how did you go to wide receiver 2? It's just simply this formation. It does not follow the logic of the pass reads at all.
I mean, man, if I'm seeing cover 2, I'm calling screens all day long.
He cuts inside.
Yeah, but it's also just because cover 2 is absolute dog shit against the screen now. The strong safety being pulled way off to the opposite side of the field just means that like the numbers advantage.
The strong safety, I agree and disagree. I get that it goes now. Why is safety turned his back? I don't understand in this time.
They just do that.
It's a pass because it's a pass play, so they
think they should be double covering because they see it's weird because they see the tight end doesn't come out, so they should immediately be like, "Huh, it's probably a run," but instead they run off to double cover somebody instead.
Yeah, well, and this is something that like even Hero and Rabbit and I have talked about is that in real football, obviously you can't always compare. Is even your safeties, your linebackers and your safeties read O linemen at the start of a play. So you're supposed to, is like you have to make the read run or pass, but what are you reading to make that judgment? In this game, it's probably the quarterback. In this game, they read the quarterback first, so they go, okay, it's a pass, go to my pass assignment. But what's supposed to happen is you're reading even your safeties read the lineman to a level. So you go, okay, they either go forward leaning down, it's a run, or when they pass block, even here, their heads come straight up for a pass block. So you go pass, but even the safeties, because they're in zone at this point, even your linebackers, like the linebackers should see, even the free safety, the strong safety might still miss this in a real read, but your linebacker and your free safety are going to see guards immediately pull. Yeah. So even in real football, that's what they would read is they would go, that lineman's pulling, even in a real pass play. And there are pass protections where you manipulate this, but you immediately go, lineman's pulling, you follow the lineman because you know it. So even the safety.
We've talked this before, right? Lineman's pulling, quarterback has the ball, screen.
Like, yeah, it's exactly, and it's not. Don't get me wrong. There's times like
Yeah, there's
3rd and
ways
10,
to.
and you would go, well, it'd make it worthless, and you go, like, okay, but
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the fucking wide receiver gets planted and he still makes it into a touchdown. So, but that's why I because of literally plays like that, that's why I gave up cover 2 as a man defense. It's so bad against the screen that it wasn't worth it to me to run the play. Yeah, it should be the safest, but fucking it's just not. It's so risky, and then the problem is just no reward, right? Like that's why man base is being spammed all over the game right now. Is what should be one of the riskiest ways to play the game, right? Man base. Nobody's in a shell. Everybody's lined up. The only way to be riskier is the blitz on top of that, and it's like the safest way to play the game. And I mean, it needs to be fixed for the sake of play diversity, but I don't even know what you do about it. Like, what can you give to cover 2 or cover 1 that makes it more attractive than just double covering an extra receiver? Especially in the world we live in now as man, where you're so vulnerable to head fake. I think middle linebacker. Yeah, I've mentioned that for a while. That I feel like middle linebacker should have audible control. Just make it tied into play knowledge. If it's a gold play, they can see it and they can call audibles off of it. But the other thing is too, safeties just need more SAs. Especially they need SAs that are unique to them. Because safeties have nothing that like is unique about them. They're basically just worse linebackers. And like, they're cheap, so it's nice, but yeah. A lot of it's just
but
bullshit.
that's what we talked about for is us at one point, us doing streams where it's like us 3 talking, because then it's us getting into game mechanic builds, how they play different, what tendencies of people, logic you
Yeah.
call plays.
I mean, I think it's be fun to do like a roster session as like a team building exercise with like 3 of us because you got 3 of the best at doing it. Talking about it, you could learn a lot, even if it'd be rambling. It'd be like a 5-hour stream, but yeah, and Hothandz was here too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's
Yeah,
just been
in
listening.
spirit. But I mean, yeah, it'd be a rambling 5-hour stream. But if you could muscle through it, you'd probably learn a lot if you were a newer
Oh,
coach.
people could learn so
Not.
much because they would see us like, oh, what's the basis of what are we building for? Okay, what's your build? What's my build? Okay, yours is terrible. Okay, but yours does this, but you forgot this, or what are you going to do without that? Okay, all right. All those things we do into the building of the team. Now, of course, then someone will start seeing also what happens with us is we'll spend 2 hours and then change it all because then we mention something crazy. But
Well,
it's that whole process of how we do that. Like I said, Ellix and I making the Kansas State defense, and I think we did that was like a 3 or 4 hour thing, and it was us just some of it was just straight. That's bad. That's bad. Well, what about didn't we say we wanted this? Oh crap, we did. Well, this is probably better, yes, but it doesn't do that. Okay. And that's that one. Even like Cavo's done it when he did the spam a lot. And he
Oh
did.
my! Did it touch
Did
back?
this?
Damn, that sucks. I thought it
Oh,
actually just planted itself on the like the 0.1 yard line. Oh, it looks like it's perfect. Damn.
it. Oh, it
That's
rolls the last
it
minute.
rolled at the last second. That's such a shame. What a beautiful punt.
Same
That was
thing. Punt
almost.
accuracy. Punt accuracy needs to get buffed because I've built star punters before, and like they're good until vet.
I mean, punt hands too, right? Punt hands is actually really fucking good in terms of
Supposed
what
to
it
be.
does for the accuracy of the punt. Like if you wanted to make coffin corners, right? Punt hands is fucking incredible.
Well, and I
But
think it's directly supposed to be related to hang time too, but we know it
but the
doesn't.
problem, well, no, the problem is it has an inverse effect on hang time. The more punt hands you have, the lower your hang time is. So you're artificially lowering how far you can punt, and that makes
You
it
may
terrible.
Well, and you could be punting farther, but you're still giving the ball to the returner so fast. You got you got 5 more yards on your punt, but you're giving up 10 more yards on the return every time.
Well, it's not even just that. Unfortunately, because Bort, with his like velocity to arc thing, the less hang time you have, the less the ball travels too. Like they're just linked together at the hip. So if your hang time goes down, your punt distance goes down. And
Yeah, and
I
this was
bet
one.
Arthur was even the one that proved it like definitively. Like if you go, it's significant too. It's not even a little bit, unfortunately. Even investing a little bit into punt hands, all my punters only ever have 15 punt hands, and I'll never go fucking higher because even a little bit significantly reduces hang time. But I have done 100 punt hands before, and I
I've
only
never
can
done a
punt like
100 punt hands.
I've done it. I only can punt like 30 yards, but damn, they're awesome every time. But that it's not helpful, like.
I know I've
It,
done 100 accuracy, 100 power, and it, like I said, up until like during rookie, sophomore, and pro, I was hitting insane coffin corner numbers, and then they just disappeared at vet.
Like I guess if you did a superstar punter and you're like, I'm gonna go 100 punt hands, 100 punt power, and it'll basically end up being kind of like my punter had like 70 punt power or something like that, but it'll be accurate as hell. I don't know. It's probably not worth it money wise, but it might be okay. I still wouldn't do it, but
No, 30.
that's what I'm saying. It's like, what does pass accuracy or pass wording
Well,
actually do?
Well, in this play, the fullback is like the second read or third read. So in that play, and that's one of the few plays fullbacks are really good out of because especially in this, because the plays he calls, they're just basically always open.
It's because he's got the middle linebacker lurk there, so nobody's actually manned up on the
Yeah, so it's
fullback.
basically it's a free 5 yards no matter what.
Yeah, I overthrew that.
And it's one of the few plays that like the progressions actually work perfectly every time. You still have times your tight end's wide open early and they hold it forever, which drives me nuts. Like here, it's fine, but you'll have times the tight end's hard cuts head fakes right out the gate and they're wide open and he just kind of holds it too late. But usually, if they don't see him open, he pretty much auto will check down to the fullback. See this one, that play. No, no, but look at the play. It's supposed to be blocking tight end. I think it goes wide receiver one, tight end, halfback before two. Yeah, so but like look how fast he goes away from the left side in this play. Like it goes so exponentially fast at 30 awareness, it makes no sense. Yeah, at all. Well, that and we know even though accuracy's low for the play, look how fast he went. Like makes no sense to go that fast. And then also, hold on, is that the halfback that gets held in? Yeah, and if you watch that progression, he actually looks at a held in player. 'Cause you'll see it goes to the right, it even goes all the way to the sideline, which is really where the halfback is there. Why did you even look at a halfback that's being held in? Yeah, like, just the logic there is so s No, I think the only way he c the I honestly, the only way I think he could manage to win is if all of a sudden I just start giving up a bunch of sacks and fumble them. Personally. It's not saying it couldn't happen, but it's one the wide receiver. Yeah, right. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go in and I'm gonna make sure all the plays are doubling the tight ends, and I'm just gonna basically call it a day. Even if he watches this, it's not gonna change that because if he can manage to get those stupid fast wide receivers to actually catch the ball and win, you know what? Wasn't gonna stop it anyway. So there's no chance of that.
All right. Well, it is getting late. I'm gonna have to call it personally. You guys can carry on if you want, but